Welcome back, everybody. We're diving deep today into immersive experiences.
Immersive experience.
Yeah, we've got all these industry newsletters, and they're packed with surprises. I mean, we're going from like the neuroscience of how we taste things all the way to how companies are using that to build communities.
Or to tear them apart.
Or to pull us apart. Yeah, it's a lot. So let's get started.
Well, it is fascinating how businesses are tapping into our senses and our emotions, whether it's through food or sound or even shared values, to create these really powerful experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, first up, the food and beverage scene.
Okay.
I was really struck by how much emphasis there is on food and beverage.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about grabbing a bite anymore.
It's a whole experience. It's about crafting a multi-layered experience around food.
Yeah.
It goes beyond just sustenance. It's a way to build brand loyalty and offer something truly unique.
Right. Like Taco Bell, they're thriving. They've had a 4% sales increase while other fast food chains are struggling.
Wow.
And their marketing is so creative. They even launched this early retirement community campaign.
Oh, wow.
I mean, who else would do that?
That's pretty out there.
But then you see brands like Red Lobster and TGI Fridays.
Right.
They're struggling.
Well, I think what's interesting is Taco Bell's success probably hinges on a couple of factors. They're offering value, which is really crucial in today's economy, but also innovation. They're not afraid to experiment, and that resonates with customers,
Right.
especially younger generations who are always looking for the next big thing. Red Lobster and TGI Fridays, on the other hand, they seem to be stuck in the past.
Yeah.
They're relying on menus and atmospheres that don't really appeal to today's consumer.
And then you've got McDonald's constantly bringing back the McRib whenever they hit a rough patch.
Yeah.
Is that really a winning strategy long term?
Well, it speaks to this reliance on nostalgia and a deeper concern about keeping up with evolving tastes.
Yeah.
While a hit of nostalgia can be comforting, it might not be enough to drive sustainable growth. The question is, can McDonald's find ways to innovate and stay relevant without constantly leaning on the past?
Okay, so fast food is one thing, but even luxury brands like Breitling,
Yeah.
the watch company,
Right.
they're opening cafes and restaurants.
Interesting.
What's driving this trend?
Well, food is inherently social, right?
Yeah.
It brings people together. It creates a natural space for conversation and shared experiences.
Right.
Brands are recognizing this, and they're trying to tap into that power. It's a way to create a more holistic brand experience
Yeah.
that extends beyond their core products.
So it's not just about selling a watch or a handbag anymore. It's about selling a lifestyle.
Exactly. Take LVMH. They're the luxury conglomerate that owns brands like Dom Perignon and Hennessy.
Right.
They're getting into the travel industry.
Wow.
They're even launching a river cruise line. It's a fascinating example of how industries are blurring together. They're not just selling champagne or cognac anymore. They're selling the entire experience of luxury travel.
Right.
With their food and beverage brands at the heart of it.
It's like everyone's trying to create their own little world for you to step into.
Right.
And food is the key that unlocks the door. But it's not just about the food itself, is it? This brings us to the neuroscience of taste.
That's right. Did you know that our perception of flavor is actually influenced by all of our senses? Music, lighting, storytelling, it can all objectively change how we experience taste.
Really?
Yeah, it's called cross-modal perception, where our senses kind of interact and influence each other. So a dish might actually taste different.
Wow.
Depending on the music that's playing or the ambiance of the restaurant.
It's like that episode of the Nudge podcast where they were talking about the irrationality of food perception.
Yes.
Our brains are making all these subconscious connections that we're not even aware of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And businesses are starting to understand this. They're using this knowledge to design multi-sensory dining experiences that are truly unique and memorable. Take Put Shack, for instance.
Put Shack.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's this high-tech mini golf place. But they're generating almost half of their revenue from food and beverages.
That's impressive. I guess mini golf and gourmet food are a surprisingly good match.
Right.
So if our senses work together like this, where else is this being applied?
Well, you can see this trend across many industries. But let's talk about hotels. Gastro marketing, using food as a marketing tool, is becoming a big thing.
Okay.
Imagine hotels crafting unique dining experiences that highlight local ingredients or cultural traditions, turning their restaurants into destinations in themselves.
It's not just about providing a place to sleep anymore. It's about creating a memorable experience.
Exactly.
That goes beyond the room.
Think about cruise lines. They've always emphasized the dining experience, but now they're going even further.
Oh, yeah.
They're creating these immersive dining adventures themed around different destinations or historical periods, and even places like zoos and aquariums.
Wow.
They're using food to create unique experiences, offering special dining events or interactive food exhibits.
So in the future, everything is going to taste amazing and be served in a beautifully curated environment
One can hope.
with perfectly paired music and mood lighting.
The takeaway here is that food and beverage is no longer an afterthought. It's a powerful tool.
Right.
Companies are realizing that by engaging all of our senses, they can create much more impactful and memorable experiences.
And speaking of memorable experiences that go beyond just taste,
Yeah.
our sources also highlighted some pretty wild examples of multisensory experiences.
Oh, really?
Like the Ghibli Park in Japan. They use GPS-enabled earphones to create this immersive audio experience. Imagine walking through the park, and as you pass certain sound nodes, the music and sound effects change,
Wow.
transporting you deeper into the world of Studio Ghibli films.
It's a brilliant use of technology to enhance storytelling
Yeah.
and to create a more immersive experience.
Yeah.
These earphones are able to pinpoint your location in the park and trigger specific audio cues, making you feel like you've stepped right into one of their animated movies.
And then there's James Turrell, the artist known for his incredible light installations.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a new exhibition at the Gagosian Gallery, and apparently it's this mind-bending experience
I can imagine.
that plays with your perception of light and color.
Well, Terrell's work is all about creating immersive environments
Yeah.
that challenge our visual perception. He uses light and space in ways that can be both mesmerizing and disorienting.
Yeah.
It's a very different kind of multisensory experience, but it highlights the power of light and color
Right.
to evoke emotions and alter our perception of reality.
It's interesting how these experiences range from high-tech, like the GPS audio, to something as simple as light and color,
Right.
but they all aim to create a deeper level of engagement. I even read about
Little.
Yeah, the grocery store chain.
Oh,
They're
like-
getting in on the action. They did a pop-up called Vino Sensoria, where you tasted wine in complete darkness.
That's a great example of sensory deprivation
Yeah.
being used to enhance a specific sense. By eliminating sight, your other senses like taste and smell become heightened, allowing you to experience the wine in a whole new way.
Okay, that one sounds a little intense, but it does make you think, are we all just craving more stimulation, more immersive experiences?
It does seem that way. Consumers are increasingly seeking out experiences that engage all of their senses. It's a shift away from passive consumption towards active participation, a desire to be fully immersed in the experience.
Right.
And this creates new challenges for producers. They need to be mindful of potential cross-sensory alterations,
Okay.
how different sensory inputs interact and can potentially change the overall perception, and also be aware of sensory sensitivities.
Right.
Not everyone enjoys being bombarded with stimuli. So we're moving from a world of passive consumption to one where we're actively seeking out experiences that challenge our senses and push the boundaries of what's possible.
Yeah.
But what happens when this desire for heightened experiences starts to shape our communities? Because that's the next big thing our sources were highlighting, the power of community
Interesting.
and the rise of something a little unsettling, polarization.
It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're more connected than ever through technology, yet many people are feeling increasingly isolated
Yeah.
and disconnected. This design hotel survey found that while people crave a sense of belonging, very few feel like they're truly part of a community.
And get this, 84% of the people surveyed believe that hotels have the potential to foster community. What do you make of that?
Wow, that's a powerful statistic. It suggests that people are yearning for physical spaces and shared experiences that bring them together.
Yeah.
Hotels, with their focus on hospitality and creating a sense of place, could step in to fill that void.
So instead of just being a place to sleep, hotels could become these vibrant hubs for connection and community building.
Exactly.
Imagine hotels creating niche communities based on shared passions, turning themselves into knowledge-sharing hubs or wellness-focused retreats.
Exactly. It's about tapping into a deeper human need for belonging and shared experiences.
Yeah.
But, and here's where it gets interesting, we're also seeing a rise in polarization.
Right.
People are increasingly gravitating towards content and communities that reinforce their existing beliefs and values.
Like how our sources mentioned the surge in conservative and faith-based content. You see it with Chick-fil-A focusing on family-friendly content, the success of Hallmark streaming.
And at the same time, potentially a decline in more liberally focused topics.
Right.
It's like the middle ground is shrinking.
Yeah.
Replaced by distinct groups forming around specific values.
Right.
And seeking reinforcement through their media choices. It's a trend that extends beyond just politics or religion. We see it in entertainment, too. For example, the article about how the live music scene is changing.
Oh, right. The middle market is getting crushed.
Exactly.
With people either going all out for those top-tier experiences,
Yes.
like paying $10,000 for a Taylor Swift ticket,
Wow.
or opting for the cheapest option available.
Right.
Even if it means sacrificing quality.
That's right. The middle ground is shrinking.
Yeah.
And that seems to mirror what's happening with content in general. People are choosing extremes. Either the big, bold, immersive experience that perfectly aligns with their interests, or the most affordable option.
Right.
Even if it means staying within their echo chamber.
So we're losing that average experience, the one that used to bring people together regardless of their backgrounds or beliefs.
It's not necessarily about losing the average, but rather about how we define value and connection.
Okay.
Think about it. In the past, mass media, like broadcast television, acted as this cultural glue.
Right.
Everyone watched the same shows, listened to the same music, and shared a common set of references. It created a sense of shared experience that transcended individual differences.
Yeah, like those water cooler moments where everyone's talking about the latest episode of a popular TV show.
Exactly.
Those seem to be fading away.
Exactly. But now, with the rise of streaming services and personalized recommendations, we're consuming media in these increasingly individual ways.
Right.
We're choosing to be surrounded by content and people who reflect our existing beliefs and values.
Right.
And that has profound implications for how we form communities and interact with those who hold different views.
It feels like a double-edged sword. On the one hand, this personalization allows us to explore a wider range of content and connect with like-minded individuals.
Right.
But it also raises concerns about echo chambers and filter bubbles where we're only exposed to information that confirms our existing beliefs. And this brings us right back to the heart of this deep dive. How can we balance this desire for intensely personal experiences with the need for a shared understanding of the world?
It's a question we'll continue to explore. The key is to be mindful of our choices and to actively seek out diverse perspectives, even when they challenge our own.
Right, because the future of entertainment and community building isn't just something happening to us, it's something we're all actively shaping through the choices we make every day.
Right.
And that's a pretty powerful thought.
It is. Yeah, it really makes you think about, the choices we're making as consumers.
Yeah.
Are we actively seeking out diverse perspectives?
Yeah.
Or are we just, surrounding ourselves with content that just reinforces what we already believe?
Right. It's like we were talking about with the live music scene, right? Choosing either the super expensive immersive concert or the cheapest ticket possible. But the source material mentioned another interesting example of this polarization trend, this time in the entertainment industry.
Right. It's fascinating how this desire for niche content is influencing entertainment trends. For example, Disney is developing a new villain-inspired land at one of their parks.
Oh, wow.
And Universal is going all in on horror and villains at their Epic and Area 15 locations. Have you heard of Area 15?
Area 15. It rings a bell, but refresh my memory.
It's this immersive entertainment complex in Las Vegas. Think art installations, virtual reality experiences, and all sorts of mind-bending attractions. It's become incredibly popular, especially with younger crowds who are looking for something different, something more edgy and experiential.
It sounds like it fits right into this trend of seeking out more, intense, engaging experiences.
Yeah.
And you mentioned villains. It's interesting because even Disney seems to be shifting away from their traditionally liberal narratives. But it's not like they're going full-on family-friendly. I mean, they're coming out with a Deadpool and Wolverine movie, which is hardly a heartwarming tale.
Exactly. It's not necessarily about aligning with a particular ideology, but rather about catering to specific audiences who crave that kind of content. These studios are recognizing the power of these niche communities and creating experiences tailored to their preferences.
So does this mean we're headed for a world where entertainment is completely fragmented, everyone locked into their own little echo chamber of content? Is there any hope for finding common ground amidst all this polarization?
It's a valid concern. This trend of polarization is something we need to be aware of, but I don't think it has to be a purely negative development. Think about it this way. In the past, there were only a few major studios or networks controlling what we watched and listened to. Now we have a seemingly endless amount of choices. This means more diverse voices and perspectives can be heard, more stories can be told, and more communities can form around shared passions.
That's true. There's a sense of empowerment that comes with having so much choice and being able to curate your own entertainment experience. But how do we prevent this from leading to further division and isolation?
I think it comes down to being conscious consumers of media. We need to be aware of our own biases and actively seek out perspectives that challenge our assumptions. It's also about recognizing the value of shared experiences, even within our niche communities. For instance, going to a concert or a sporting event can be an incredibly unifying experience, even if you don't agree with everyone in the crowd on everything.
It's that feeling of camaraderie and shared passion that transcends individual differences. You're connected by something bigger than yourself, and for a moment, those divisions melt away.
Exactly. And I think that's what we need to hold on to. The idea that even as we explore our individual interests and connect with like-minded individuals, we can still find common ground and build bridges across those divides.
So it's not an either situation. We don't have to choose between personalized experiences and a sense of shared community.
Precisely. It's about finding a balance, embracing the incredible possibilities of these immersive experiences in niche communities, while also recognizing the importance of exposure to different viewpoints and maintaining a sense of connection with the broader world.
It's like walking a tightrope. On one hand, we want to celebrate the amazing creativity and innovation happening in immersive experiences and entertainment. But on the other hand, we need to be mindful of the potential consequences of fragmentation and polarization.
And I think that brings us to the central question of this deep dive. Is the pursuit of ever more engaging and immersive experiences ultimately driving us further apart? Or can these shared experiences help bridge the divides between communities?
That's a really big question, and honestly, I don't think there's a simple answer. But it's a question we all need to be thinking about as we navigate this rapidly evolving landscape of entertainment and community building. Because the future of these spaces isn't predetermined, it's something we're all actively shaping through the choices we make. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree. It's a complex issue with no easy answers, but that's what makes it so fascinating to explore. And ultimately, I think it's a hopeful message. We're not just passive recipients of these trends. We have agency.
Yeah.
We can choose how we engage, what we consume, and who we connect with. That's a powerful realization.
Yes. It really is. It's a reminder that even in a world of increasing personalization and niche communities, we still have the power to shape our shared future. We can choose to build bridges rather than walls.
Yeah.
Feels like we're at a crossroads, doesn't it? We have all this amazing technology and creativity at our fingertips.
Yeah.
You know, the power to create these incredibly immersive and personalized experiences.
It's true.
But the question is, are we using that power to connect with each other or to further isolate ourselves?
That's the challenge, isn't it? Finding that balance, between personalization and connection.
Right.
And I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer.
Yeah.
It's about being mindful, being intentional about the choices we're making and how we're engaging with these experiences.
So it's not necessarily about avoiding these immersive experiences or niche communities altogether. It's more about being aware of the potential pitfalls.
Right. Yeah.
And making conscious choices about how we participate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For instance, if you find yourself drawn to a particular genre of entertainment or a specific online community, that's great. Explore it. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
But also make an effort to step outside that bubble from time to time.
Right.
Seek out different perspectives. Engage in conversations with people who hold different views. It's about keeping that curiosity alive and challenging your own assumptions.
It's like expanding your palate, right?
Yeah.
You might have your favorite foods, but trying new things keeps your taste buds engaged.
Right.
And prevents you from getting stuck in a rut.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It's the same with our media consumption. If we only consume content that reinforces our existing beliefs, we're not really growing or learning. We're just staying comfortable.
Right.
And comfort, while nice in the short term, can lead to stagnation in the long run.
So how do we break out of those comfort zones? It's easy to get caught up in the algorithms and recommendations, to just keep scrolling through the same types of content.
It takes effort, for sure. It's about being more proactive in our choices. Instead of passively accepting what's being fed to us, we need to actively seek out diverse perspectives. Maybe that means reading articles from publications that you don't typically agree with, or watching a documentary that challenges your worldview, or even just having a conversation with someone who has different life experiences than you.
It's about being willing to be uncomfortable, to have those conversations that might be a little challenging or even a little awkward. But those are often the conversations that lead to the most growth and understanding.
Absolutely. It's in those moments of discomfort that we're forced to confront our own biases and preconceived notions. And that's how we learn and evolve as individuals and as a society.
And it's not just about consuming information, it's about connecting with people on a human level. It's about finding those shared experiences that transcend our differences. Think about those moments when you're at a concert or a sporting event and everyone is cheering together, singing along to the same song. It's a powerful reminder that we have more in common than we might realize.
Those shared experiences are so important. They create a sense of collective joy, a sense of belonging that transcends our individual beliefs or backgrounds. And it's not just about grand events. It can be something as simple as sharing a meal with friends or family, or even just striking up a conversation with a stranger at the coffee shop.
It's about being open to connection, to seeing the humanity in others, even when we don't agree with them. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. And the more we can connect with each other on a human level, the better equipped we'll be to navigate the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
Beautifully said. I think that's a perfect note to end on. The future of entertainment and community building is in our hands. Let's use it wisely.
That's all for today's deep dive. Thanks for joining us as we explored the fascinating world of multisensory experiences and the evolving landscape of community. We'll see you next time for another journey into the trends shaping our world.